Please, no rude comments. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. So I know I said I'd do 3-minute videos in the last video. I said that, but really they're not getting hits. The 3-minute ones are literally 100 people if I'm lucky, whereas a minute ones, a couple of thousand. Now, back in the day when I first started doing these, I was getting tens of thousands. But what's also happening apparently is people was telling me that they can't actually find my videos anymore. Even though they're following me and they should show up as they scroll on all the videos, different people's videos, mine's not showing up, which means I'm probably hitting the mark with some of my comments, and obviously the powers that be doesn't want people to know. So they're strangling me. So I probably will stick with the 1-minute videos just to get more views out there. I'm sorry. I know I wanted to do the 3-minute videos. Okay. So let's go back to the Anunnaki. So the Anunnaki, as you know, live on the planet Nibiru, and their orbit was the elliptical orbit that goes around our sun every 3,600 years approximately. And there's a website here. It's a good little website. I'll just give you the link to it. You can pause it. www. If you want to go on to that website, you can. Okay, so what you do is you put your birth date in, and it will tell you how old you will be on your next birthday and how old you are on whatever planet that's here. Obviously, they don't have Nibiru planet on here. But so I'm just, before I carry on with the Anunnaki, I just want to make it clear that although on Earth we live approximately 80 years, let's just say. So if you went from Earth and stayed on their planet, the Nibiru's planet, that has 3,600 year orbit, you'd still only die when you're 80. So their planet wouldn't go around our sun once. You'd be dead in their terms. You'd be dead in probably almost like a day or two or week or whatever it would be. So, but that's because we've evolved to live 80 years. Some argue that we was genetically changed to actually live only 80 years, because prior to the flood we was living 300, 400, 500 years. But so if you was living on Nibiru and evolved on Nibiru, then to you on Nibiru you probably would live 80 years, maybe longer. But 80 years going around our sun at 3,600 years every one of our years would make you live longer. So just trying to reiterate that point, that although we would die in a week on their planet, if they came here, they would live a lot longer and seem immortal. The Anunnaki, come on down. And they did actually come on down, and what they actually found, and they wrote about this a lot, is that the ground that they walked on was hot. They didn't like our sun, and that's because our sun is quite close to us compared to where they live on their planet. Now, occasionally when their planet finally gets round on their elliptical orbit, yes, it gets hot, but they couldn't stand our heat, and they wrote about burning their feet and all sorts of stuff. So the Anunnaki wore clothes, yes. Guess where humans learnt to make clothes? I'll give you one guess. I know we all think we're clever and we done it, but guess where we learned it from? So they wore clothes, and in fact the women actually would have hairdos. Now, I know this looks like a lizard creature, but apparently, according to stitching, this was an Anunnaki woman all dressed up to the nines I'm guessing on a day out. So women had power. The Anunnaki women, although it was still a male-dominated society for the Anunnaki, the women actually did have power, which is quite interesting. Not power as in superpowers, but it's interesting because when you think Sumeria, which is the sort of, shall we say, the birthplace of where they arrived and first colonized, is now Iraq, and as we know, this sort of area here in the Middle East, women's rights are not adhered to as they are, for example, here in the UK. So I would have thought that these guys learned how to treat women from the Anunnaki, but no, I think they just decided how to treat women for their own power reasons. Now, if you look here, this is the Anunnaki tree. So this is Anu. So he at the time of when they came down, he was the king of Nibiru, and he had the Anunnaki did sort of inbreed at points, but the King Anu, so I'm not going to go any further back at the moment, but the King Anu had a daughter as well as Enlil and Enki, but the daughter was a goddess here on Earth. We actually worshipped her as a goddess, and that would make sense seeing as Enki and Enlil were also classed as gods, so these were the princely brothers. Now, her job here on Earth, as you see, wasn't just to look pretty. And look at the size of this. I know this is obviously a modern rendering, but look at the size of the lion there. Now remember, these characters from Nibiru were 8 to 10 foot, sometimes 12 foot tall. So just imagine standing up right now and looking down at your feet. That's how small someone would be. That would be their head at your feet. So this is why the carvings and everything show these giants compared to us little. Okay, so before I carry on with the in-depth Anunnaki, I have to address the debunkers. Now, this person here is an archaeologist called Sarah Kroenig, and just listen to what she says, and I'm going to go through where she's wrong. And I'm sorry, I have a little saying that I hate thick people, and thick people are the people that's not prepared to open their eyes. Now, she's totally blinked because the actual title of this video is Aliens Built the Pyramids and Other Absurdities. Okay, so let's go through this and make her look absurd.
That aliens from the planet Nibiru had come to Earth and established the ancient Sumerian culture in Mesopotamia. I have these conversations.
So someone had mentioned that to her, and
a lot. On planes, in bookstores, and in bars, people want to talk with me about pseudo-archaeology.
Yeah, not really pseudo, it's actually real archaeology, but you're not prepared to open your eyes.
Something that seems like archaeology, but isn't.
Or you're paid.
It involves making wild and unproven
or you're paid to debunk this kind of stuff.
Claims about the human past. Things like aliens built the pyramids.
Okay, so she's gone for the picture there of the Greys, which we know the Anunnaki are not like the Greys. The Anunnaki are actually, well, just like us really, or we're like them. So there's a first mistake there. Clearly she doesn't know much about Sumeria. And, you know, these tablets are in Sumeria, you know, which is Mesopotamia. So, wrong on that account, love.
Or survivors from the lost continent of Atlantis invented hieroglyphic writing. Now, most of us know that claims like these are unfounded.
Well, they're not unfounded, actually, because you've got the Dead Sea Scrolls that actually talk about where they landed, who they were, and actually covers it. So, and that's the Book of Enoch, which is made up of all these different things. So, yeah, the proof's there, to be honest with you. So they're not unfounded. Otherwise, if you're disregarding the Dead Sea Scrolls, then you have to disregard the Bible.
And frankly, absurd. Yet they're everywhere.
Yes, they're everywhere because it's freaking fact, you numpty.
They're on TV shows, in movies, and in books. Think of the History Channel series Ancient Aliens.
So where she was just talking about the planet Nibiru, look, this is from NASA's own website here. Caltech researchers have found mathematical evidence suggesting that there may be a Planet X. Now, if you remember my very first video, I mentioned Planet X is the